Welcome to this mantra meditation on Shiva. Shiva has an interesting origin story. It's not like most origin stories of some kind of heroics or some kind of creation process or birthing into this world. Rather, it's a story that's kind of nothingness. He supposedly showed up one day in a small village in India as a man just meditating in quietness. He didn't say a thing, he didn't acknowledge anyone, he just sat in stillness. And he sat there for so long without eating, without sleeping, that the villagers started to spread word around India, around the country. And that word got around to all sorts of people. And they all had to know. They all had to go see, what is this man that's just sitting here, meditating and doing nothing? How can he be this? How can he do that? And so for a very long time, people would make pilgrimage to this small village to see Shiva. And they would just see a man just sitting there. He wouldn't eat, he wouldn't sleep, he wouldn't say anything. His eyes were half closed. And this created an interesting dynamic where people would sit with him and meditate. And so this went on for some time. And at some point, Shiva began to cry, like tears began to stream down his face as he was entering a state of bliss in his meditation. And this is the origin of Shiva. When he awoken his eyes and he came to this world, he had in front of him his first disciples, and they asked him, "Will you teach us? What do you know?" And so Shiva really, it just this, without having to sit in front of someone, this story, Shiva teaches us that we just need to be at peace, in stillness with ourselves. Whatever is going on up here, whatever is going on out there, that when we're at peace with ourselves, then we will find bliss. We will simply find that bliss that we're seeking. But we have to let go of all of our attachments. We have to let go of this external world, not in that way that we disassociate from it, but in a way that we are not attached to it. So whatever may happen, whatever we desire, it all just kind of falls away. It doesn't matter. What matters is that we are present in the moment. So with all that said, let's chant to Shiva. If you have a mala, you're welcome to join along with on your mala, or you can just simply chant with me, and I will keep count for you. Our mantra today will be Om Namah Shivaya, and we're just gonna let the heart sing this one. Om Namah Shivaya, 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 Om Namah Shivaya. You feel that stillness, the presence heavy with this moment. The quietness of the world as it reverberates with the vibration of the mantra. When I was in India, one of the temples we went to visit was experiencing an influx of people. There was a great pilgrimage going on around India at the time, and there were a lot of people who had been traveling by foot between temples, and we were in line to see the temple. We were inside the temple, but we were waiting in line to see Parvati, and someone said Om Namah Shivaya, and we responded with Om Namah Shivaya even louder. And then a bigger group responded Om Namah Shivaya. And all of a sudden we were shaking in the temple, just chanting Om Namah Shivaya. It was like very powerful to feel that. I mean, there was 1,000 people just in this just spur of the moment, spontaneous chanting Om Namah Shivaya. And I think that's where a lot of the power of Shiva and the meditation that he teaches, the stillness, the acceptance, the surrender, the change, the flow, the impermanence. It just is this natural thing that arises from within us when we are still, when we aren't forcing our own opinions or desires or thoughts or actions into the world, where we just kind of we don't lay down and take whatever happens, but we take a step back and look at the bigger picture. And instead of saying I would change this and I would do this, we instead say, isn't this interesting, right? And we become part of it instead of this actor within it who's caught up in the story. And this applies all over our lives. I mean, it goes from the mundane interaction with the cashier or someone in the parking lot at the gas station, when you're walking down the street, all the way up to, you know, real conflict with people at work, with your family, with your partner, your wife, your husband, girlfriend, boyfriend. These these conflicts, we get so absorbed in them that we lose sight that it's a story and it's evolving and it's changing. And sometimes we make really bad decisions, like permanent decisions, based upon that, when the reality is that this is an impermanence. It is changing. It is constantly changing. And so taking that step back, we're not so emotionally fueled and charged by what is. And instead, we can approach it with a much more curious state, a much more aware and present state. And I think when we are able to do that, then we find the bliss of life. And we start to realize that whether we're going through the best times of our lives or the hardest times of our lives, that we are joyous to even have this experience in the first place. So thank you for joining me. We'll close out with a short mantra again to Shiva. Om Namah Shivaya Gurave Satchitananda Murtaye Nishpapanchaya Shantaya Niralambaya Tejase Om Shanti Om Om Shanti Om Om Shanti Om. Thank you for joining me on this meditation. Please like and subscribe if you'd like more. Om Shanti.